Investigators trying to piece together what happened to Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 have turned their attention to a new lead. There are reports the plane may have been purposely diverted hundreds of kilometers off course, and this has renewed fears the flight may have been the victim of foul play. For the latest, Nathan King joins us right here in the studio. Nathan, what do you have?
Thanks, Alan. We are now learning more about why the search for Flight 370 is focusing on the Indian Ocean, particularly the Andaman Sea. And information first provided to the Reuters news agency, investigators said they believe the flight may have flown for 4 to 5 hours along this route and tracked by military radar. Now, these names on the map you can see behind me, Igari, Vampi, Gival, Igrex, are known as waypoints. And if the plane flew this way, it suggests whoever was at the controls knew what they were doing and may have had a specific destination in mind. The closest land after this last point here on the map is the Andaman and Nicobar Islands to the west of Thailand, though it's actually part of India. The other piece of information which investigators seem to be honing in on is that the aircraft was sending out pings that were picked up by a satellite, like a beacon. Now, where do these pings come from? What they mean? We will have more from London on that from our correspondent, Richard Bestick, in a moment. But remember, Flight 370 had its transponder down, the emergency locator and transmitters were off, the aircraft communications and reporting systems, which normally send out around 10,000 pieces of data a second, were not relaying information, but the system that transmits them, SATCOM, was.
And turned off that system, there would be no data, but the SATCOM would continue to ping. The SATCOM would still try to make the phone call, if you will. It's like it's saying, here I am, I want to give you information, but would never really connect because there's no data going across those lines.
Now that suggests that the plane was still operating. So with both these leads, the focus is now on the Indian Ocean. And we know that the US is searching to the south near Indonesia, and other nations, including India, are searching north near the islands. Now, of course, the most likely scenario, and is the plane did crash into the sea, but fascinating new leads.
Nathan, there are other theories as well, including a Chinese university recording a seismic event.
That's right. The University of Science and Technology of China's seismology department say they detected a slight seismic event around the time the Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 went down last Saturday, located around 90 miles from the tip of Vietnam, which puts the event about 100 kilometers northeast of where the last communication with the flight was. What makes it interesting is this area is called non-seismic by the university, i.e. not an area you would normally get this sort of a minor earthquake. Could it be in a plane crashing into a sea? The other theory as to why the plane may have been lost is its cargo. Lithium batteries were thought to be on board in the cargo hold. They have been blamed for previous air crashes, and they can overheat and ignite. But so far, still no plane a week on, no evidence, but many more possible scenarios. And you do get that feeling that after a week, that investigators and all those ships out there are honing in on potentially finding what happened.
Thanks, Nathan.